Hello everyone, this is FPV Angel and One Conscience. Today we're going to read through various scriptures and show you how we relate things to the workings of the realm. We look at the cherubims in more detail and how important it is for you to understand what they are and how their various roles in the underworld relate to the workings of the realm. Now I had the advantage of seeing the construct before I had even read any scriptures. My Nazca line work is showing me layers of the underworld which relates to the workings of our luminaries. The anti-Kefirian mechanism also becomes more layers in the underworld of its cogs, gears and mechanisms, as you have seen in one of our previous videos. I have never read through scriptures before, but now that I do, I can see exactly what it is translating into. So what One Conscience is going to do here is read through various scriptures and pause in places for us to discuss and break down what they are telling us. We chose these parts in scripture as we feel they are the most important ones that will help you see how the construct operates and how the technology plays a very big part in this. So the microphone over to you, One.
Thank you. So the very first script that always catches everybody's mind is, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Well, that right there disproves us coming from apes. Right?
100% right.
So that one's a huge one. So what does the Bible say about cherubim? Well, Genesis, it says, "Then the Lord God said, Behold, man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil, and now he might stretch out his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat and live forever. Therefore, God sent him out from the Garden of Eden to cultivate the ground from which he was taken. So he drove the man out, and at the east of the Garden of Eden he stationed the cherubim and the flaming sword which turned in every direction to guard the way to the tree of life."
Right, so what we're going to do there is we're going to pause there, people, and discuss what that's just been telling us. Now, when I listen to that, that tells me this is over at the East Gate, and this is the scene that you're going to come across, probably in relation to the preparation of a sunrise. Now, the cherubim, it's something that's there on guard, or it's there for a purpose. It's been created for a purpose, and it will always be there doing this role. Over to you, on for what you can take out of that.
Yeah, I think the same thing. The cherubim is energy. I mean, the flaming sword is energy, I would say. It's not going to let us get there. And if we did get there, I mean, we probably wouldn't make it back. The sun is very hot, and it's on launch mode from there. So, yeah.
I would say in relation to what the Mayans believed as well, you know, that the underworld to them was a test probably of the manhood. They had these rooms that they had to go in, and there was dangers in there they had to conquer to get past it and prove themselves, I guess, is what they were trying to do. Or perhaps this is how this is how they wandered around in the underworld, trying to make their own sense of what they were looking at. But when you look at the Mayans' beliefs, you start to see a lot more to it than just a few rooms with cogs and gears and dangerous things moving around. So it tells you that cultures of old have also experienced what the Bible and the other scriptures are telling you. It tells you that a lot of the world knew of the workings of the realm. They knew it existed, and they knew some of the workings, and they tried to map it, it seems. So we can take that from that first verse as well.
Yeah.
Over to you, One.
So we'll move to Ezekiel. And these are in no order, just so everyone knows. So Ezekiel, "As I looked, behold, a stormy wind came out of the north, and a great cloud with brightness around it, and fire flashing forth continuously, and in the midst of the fire, as it were gleaming metal. And from the midst of it came the likeness of our four creatures. And this was their appearance. I didn't continue on that one because...
Yeah, we haven't got one to reference that yet, have we, a model?
Right.
I'm trying to do something like that now, actually. Hold on, I'll just show you this image. We'll cut in there a sec.
Okay.
I'll screen share this image. That's what I was trying to do in the background the last couple of days. I'm wondering how I can go about creating what they're trying to describe. Where's it up? Can you see it? This one.
Yes.
You know, that's a depiction of a cherubim right there with one of its halos, its accelerator, and there's the human arms built into the wings. Amazing,
Yes.
isn't it? So this
It also reminds me of Jesus on the cross.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, with his arms, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, you can take your Celtic cross from that. You know, you can start to see a lot of what scriptures, various scriptures and belief systems are telling you. But you know, when I look at belief systems now, it tells me the whole world. You know, not just this image, this one, all these others, these seven here, these depictions here, Sumerian, the Egyptians, like the same, much the same depictions. It's all telling you about the same story, isn't it?
And that actually looks like the Templar cross as well, in a way.
Yeah, it certainly does.
Yeah.
I'll leave that on screen then while you... No, I won't.
Okay.
No, I won't turn it off. Well, you can continue.
Alright, so Ezekiel. Then I looked, and behold, 4 wheels beside the cherubim, 1 wheel beside each cherubim, and the appearance of the wheels was like the gleam of tarnished stone. As for their appearance, all 4 of them had the same likeness, as if one wheel were within another wheel. When they moved, they went in any of their 4 directions without turning as they went, but they followed in the direction which they faced without turning as they went. Within another, their whole body, their backs, their hands, their wings, and the wheels were full of eyes all around. The wheels belonging to all 4 of them. The wheels were called in my hearing the whirling wheels. And each one had 4 faces. The first face was the face of a cherubim. The second face was the face of a man. The third face was that of a lion, and the fourth was that of an eagle. Then the cherubim rose up. They are the living beings that I saw by the river of Chebar. Don't know if I pronounced it right. Now when the cherubim moved, the wheels would go beside them. Also, the cherubim lifted up their wings to rise from the ground. The wheels would not turn from beside them.
What a fantastic description, isn't it?
It really is. But we can see why people get so confused.
Yeah, yeah. But
Because
I'll let you go through that one first.
Well.
Do you want to screen share? Have you got the text on screen there?
Oh,
you
yeah.
can screen share it if you want, because it'll help me as well to help break it down even more. Because the more you read, the you know what we've gone past, you start forgetting. So yeah, if you can go back to the start of that where you started on. Yeah, that's a good idea. Very good idea.
Okay. There we go. And this is where we read.
Right, over to you one for...
So, well, I mean, it's describing the mechanism of the cherubims. Your descriptions, of course, are going to be better than mine. I am finding it hard to articulate all of this. But they're basically telling us how the cherubims move around in the underworld, and they're carrying with them their little vials, that are going to make these illuminaries.
Yeah, certainly is, isn't it? And
Yeah.
I looked, and behold, 4 wheels beside the cherubim, 1 wheel beside each cherubim, and the appearance of the wheels that gleam of a tarnished stone. So what the wheels are people is what I've been saying, the particle accelerators. The technology that's used to project what we see and call luminaries. This is what the Nazca lines have been teaching me, and kudos to Roger at Wood Fossil University. This guy's a scientist in his own right. This guy's on the verge of actually discovering how these work through his own research, which is amazing to watch and listen to. Unsubscribing, fantastic work. But what I've seen at Nazca, you know, this technology exists. It's how these projections work, what we're seeing in the heavens. And that's what these wheels, beside the cherubims, are telling me. These wheels are these projectors, and there is various models of them. Now, you notice when it mentions the wings lifting up, this is an action that's going to lift the wheels up, and they will interlock, creating what we see and report in the sky as halos, or people are now calling sundogs. We call them halos. This is the projection you are seeing from below, because when it lifts its wings up, the vertical halo, which is you would see around the face of the sun, for instance, and the horizontal halo, which comes up into an interlocking position with it, and this is what's electromagnetically trapping and harnessing the element that's being projected. This is what we are seeing in the heavens. Now, that would be my best guess description of how this technology works. What else we got there? Do you want to cover some more bits of it, one?
Well, the wheel.
Yeah, the movement. Yeah, very important.
Yeah.
Because what Ptolemy described in his world model, in the model of the heavens, with these epicycles, the guy was absolutely correct, 100%. Because what he tried to take into account was what's creating these motions. Now it makes me wonder, did this guy, Ptolemy, know of the existence of these accelerators and how the world worked in those days? Because looking through all these cultures, everyone knew. It doesn't matter which culture you look at, you know, the Hindus, all the mandalas, they're all depicting the workings of this realm. And it makes me wonder, you know, did these people realise and plot, and this is how they worked it out? This is how Ptolemy got his model, the model for the heavens. Because you look at Copernicus, you know, they destroyed Ptolemy's works, and all these epicycles, they're just fantasy talk. They get in the way, it's too messy. It's a lot of things that aren't taken into account to make something work, but I think they're wrong. Well, I know they're wrong. Because what he's describing as epicycles are these projections in the sky we're calling halos. So, you know, you've got to look at epicycles. Epicycles, there's stationary halos up there, and there's moving ones up there. Now the sun and the other 6 major luminaries that are being projected, these have got these kind of motions. They are moving around in the underworld, and as described here, they will go in the direction it's facing, and they will not alter unless the vehicle, i.e. the cherubim, changes its direction. Then the luminary in the sky reacts accordingly and will go in that new direction. So it tells you the cherubims in the underworld are moving around across trackwork, mechanisms, triggers, you name it, various pieces of technology from what I can see, and triggering different things to happen in the heavens, you know, direction changes. And this is happening with all the luminaries, all the major ones.
Yeah.
Is that enough for that bit?
I mean, other than that, it's just on a time system. It clearly says they don't turn; they go in the direction that they're facing, right? So I mean, it's a timed system. They have their paths, and that's all they can follow.
Yeah, whatever that season they're in, you know, it's going to change across the seasons. These paths are obviously changing across the seasons, and that's why we're seeing, you know, the sun will go north or it'll go south, etc., etc. It's related to how what's going on down below. As above, so below. What you're seeing in the sky is happening down below. That's exactly what it's relating to.
Exactly. I can't agree more. Okay, so Psalms. I just liked it. The Lord reigns, let the people tremble. He sits enthroned upon the cherubim. Let the earth quake. I just thought that one was kind of cool sounding.
Where's that one at? I can't see it.
It's Psalm 99:1.
Oh yeah, the Lord reigns, let the people tremble, he sits enthroned upon the cherubim. Let the earth quake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let the people yeah, it's a good Lord reigns, let the peoples tremble, he sits enthroned upon the cherubim, let the earth quake. Yeah, it's going to quake when this technology starts, people. You go into one conscience's work then, you know, she's been tracking them, this is technology switching off and on. These are causing quakes.
Samuel, he rode on a cherubim and flew. He was seen on the wings of the wind.
He rode on a cherubim and flew. Now if you go back to one of our older videos where we showed Mauro Biglino, he's a translator for the Vatican, and his translation told him, in his own words, the cherubims are robots, the angels are robots. This is in the man's own words, you can go and watch his video, and that ties in perfectly with what we're trying to present to you people. We're looking at technology, guys, you know, these are machines, and I'm not sure if they're AI, there's, you know, it's a production line down there by the sound of it, and lots of work's going on. Now,
Yes.
in some scripture, someone rode on the back of a cherubim. Now, as Mauro said, it wasn't fly. He said, although they say it was flying, it was not in the sky. Very important. This, he wasn't flying in the sky. He was going across the ground on a vehicle, because in Mauro's own words, he rode on it like on the back of a horse. So he was travelling along a metal vehicle on the back of it. This is what it's telling you. He rode a cherubim flew. He wasn't flying in the sky, he was riding on the back of a vehicle, or what we would class as a vehicle, or a machine that he was on the back of. He was seen on the wings of wind. Yes, the accelerators are going to generate a lot of wind. We now go back to some of our older research with that, where tornadoes, typhoons, tempests can all be related to this technology and how it works. Over to you, Juan.
Yes. When Moses went into the tent of a meeting to speak with the Lord, he heard the voice speaking to him from above the mercy seat that was on the ark of the testimony, from between the two cherubims, and it spoke to him. So, to understand that, it says somewhere, and I can't recall where, that to understand the angels, you have to understand their language. Well, to me, their language is vibrations and tones. It's sound. It's frequencies.
Another thing I can see in there is he tend to meet and speak with the Lord. He heard the voice speaking to him from above the mercy seat. Now the mercy seat can now relate to the Ark of the Covenant, or the Ark of the Testimony it mentions here, which is going to be coming up in one of our next presentations. So I'll keep that little bit for the next presentation, because I'm going to elaborate on that a bit more and how they work.
Okay. It's in Numbers 7:89. So Exodus, there I will meet with you, and from above the mercy seat, from between the two cherubim that are on the ark of the testimony, I will speak with you about all that I will give you in commandment for the people of Israel.
Yeah, it's relating to the ark, and from between the two cherubim is where there's going to be an arcing of electricity. And I will speak with you about all that I will give you in commandment for the people of Israel. So it's showing you basically how to generate power, electricity, and this is for all the people of Israel. Now if you remember again one of our previous videos on this research, Israel can be the name of the realm. All people, all kindreds, all nations, and all tongues. That covered our world exactly. That is not a country, that is the world. It's describing the name of the world as Israel. Would you agree there, one?
Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, and when they start reading this and they go through and they were to actually read more scriptures, people on their own, um, they'll see that it is describing that our world is Israel.
Yeah, that's what.
I believe it even refers to the heavens as Jerusalem at one point in some of these scriptures.
Yeah, that caught my eye once as well.
Yeah, so they've just covered this up. They've called countries the name of our realm, and they're not letting us know where we live.
Yeah, it's obfuscating scriptures more, isn't it?
Right, and if you don't know that...
If you consider Israel as the name of the realm, then what scripture's telling you becomes a whole different meaning.
Exactly, and then that's what I was about to say, if you don't know that that's what they've done, we're all assuming that this is just a little country and these people are God's favorite people, and and there's going to be people that lie and say they're them, and if you read it, it's very confusing if you don't understand that this is speaking about all of us, our world.
Yeah.
So it makes a big difference.
We're all the Creator's children in the realm called Israel. That's what it's telling me.
Yep. Ezekiel really enjoys talking about these four faces. So everyone had four faces. The first face was that of a cherubim, the second was a human, the third was that of a lion, and the fourth an eagle.
Yeah, I think they could refer to cardinal directions in the underworld. It could be 4 points in the underworld where the cherubim would need to be going on its journey. Could be wrong, but I'm considering what's going on down below when I look at this. Them four faces might represent 4 locations, or it could even represent, the 4 poles, north, south, east and west, the 4 gates, the 4 poles, the 4 portals. There's a bit more into there, but yes, definitely very interesting. This was made with 4 faces for a reason, and
yes.
Again, you're looking at a piece of manufactured metalwork with different faces. What is it telling you, people? It's telling you this vehicle has got 4 different faces on it. If you go through other scriptures, you'll see it's been laden in gold. The wings have been laden in gold. This is a magnificent piece of technology and mechanical work that's carrying these particle accelerators around, these projectors.
Yeah, I agree with it's the 4 directions. It has to be. I'm sure that if we looked back further, we would find relation to these descriptions with the directions, north, east, south, and west. Lots of old religions use the directions. It's very, very important which direction you're using or calling or going to as far as the outcome that you're trying to receive. So it's definitely important. It's Isaiah, above him stood the seraphim. Each had 6 wings. With 2 he covered his face, with 2 he covered his feet, and with 2 he flew.
Yeah, I haven't really looked at seraphim. So it tells me that this is another model of cherubim. These have got 6 for a reason, and 2 with 2 he flew. Well, we can see that 2 are used for accelerators, so it's got an accelerator on board at least.
Yeah, and I mean the seraphim are the fiery ones. They're called fiery serpents.
Yeah, I wish they'd described them a bit more. What was lying around about them kind of descriptions.
Yeah. When I first read them, I really took them as to do with the lava, and it still could, but I'm not real sure anymore. So they don't give a very good description of them. No, they call them the fiery ones, the fiery serpents.
But you never know, you might find a depiction of one somewhere in some sacred geometry and it'll be a bit more revealing. Hopefully these images
This is
exist
true.
in geometry or hieroglyphs, geoglyphs. They could be out there still. Just need to be found and decode what its purpose or role is. That's a nice looking one.
Ezekiel, you were an anointed guardian cherub. I placed you. You were on the holy mountain of God. In the midst of the stones of fire you walked. So that right there is saying that God placed the cherubim.
Yeah.
He
Guardian
placed it
cherubim.
under, yeah, probably guarding away to something. It doesn't really say right there, but
It's
I'm sure
obviously
it goes
somewhere
on.
important if it's a guardian, isn't it? Yeah. We're on the holy mountain of
Yes.
God, in the midst of the stones of fire you walked. The stones of fire, we're now looking at volcanic type material here, or possibly another subject we'll be going through in the next presentation. So I'll leave that bit for
now. Here's a bit more about the seraphim. Isaiah. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting upon the throne, high and lifted up, and the train of his robes filled the temple. Above him stood the seraphim. Each had 6 wings. 2 covered the face, 2 covered the feet, and 2 he flew. And one called to another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. And the foundations of the thresholds shook at the voice of him who called. And the house was filled with smoke. And I said, Woe is me, for I am lost, for I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of people of unclean lips. For my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts.
Well, an amazing description.
Yeah.
You've got a driver problem there.
Yeah.
Sitting on the throne, high and lifted up, on the train of his robe filled the temple. With him stood the seraphim. Back to the six wings type. One again, so we could just face. Well, what they call him the Lord of Hosts, which is the Lord of the hosts in the heavens. It's got to be the sun, hasn't it? It's got to be the Lord of Hosts, surely the sun. It's the most prominent thing that we see.
Definitely.
It could be the moon. So, whichever one you would consider the Lord of Hosts, that needs a little more research on my behalf, looking at what they call the Lord of Hosts. Oh, it is full of his glory. Yeah, I would say that's probably the sun. The glory of the sun shining upon the world. The foundations for the threshold shook at the voice of him who called, and the house was filled with smoke. This smoke, I think it's, go back to how they start in the east again, when the accelerator starts up. Because I've seen a few descriptions where this room is filled with cloud. And we've seen how clouds seem to form around these halos that we see in the heavens. What people are calling sundogs. We'll go back to them again, the halos. They've got that cloud-like colour, and I think it does seem to draw cloud or vapour, water vapour in, and possibly even produce cloud from it. I think that's how it works with the clouds. Clouds may be directly related to the halos. Where else we at?
Keep learning.
Woe is me, I'm lost. I'm a man of unclean lips. The only bit I can look at there is my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of the hosts. That's telling me someone's heard other than what they were told. They've gone down and seen it with their own eyes, and now they believe what they're seeing to be true. It seems this person who was given this description was lied to, hence the mention of unclean lips. He was told lies, and he dwells in the midst of people of unclean lips, so he's living around people that are lying how the world works. Well, my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. He's seen the sun. He's been there and seen it himself and tried to describe it. So he knows there's people telling lies about what's going on in the underworld. That's what I'm looking at there.
We can understand that.
Yeah, yeah.
All of us.
Oh yeah, unclean lips. Politicians got the unclean lips.
Exactly.
Yeah. Get the trout out quick.
Chronicles says, "For the altar of incense made of refined gold, and its weight. Also his plan for the golden chariot of the cherubim that spread their wings and cover the ark of the covenant of the Lord."
Your computer is at risk.
It's not, though. It's a bunch of spyware crap, I think.
That's a nice description, that isn't it? The altar of incense made of
Yes.
refined gold. Ooh, so there's a bit of gold refining going on there. Again, we can go back to the accelerators and how they can produce materials from elements. Looking at elements to a matter, the way it works, the alchemy of this technology, which is very much part of creation.
Yes.
All these mountains of gold, silver, copper that are mentioned in scriptures, various scriptures, this is what it's referring to, this is where it's coming from, this technology produces it. The plan for the golden chariots of the cherubim that spread their wings and covered the ark of the covenant of the Lord. So yeah, pure gold, and they're going to make this golden chariot of the cherubim. Amazing. Isn't that amazing reading?
It is.
Wow,
They're
what a sight
they're
to behold that
building
must have
stuff.
been. Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
they're building it. They're
refining gold, they're going to make it from pure gold. Yeah, they're manufacturing this Ark of the Covenant.
yeah. Revelations.
On a human scale, that one.
Right.
Human
Yeah.
scale and creator size scale we're looking at here. There's a very big difference in size scale going on.
And this really could have been more like giant size, actually, not us size.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you know, the
Back
human
then-
size productions would be like the Ark of the Covenant, ones that they could carry around, mobile, which, you know, I'm going
Right.
to cover in the next presentation a bit more. That's a
Yes.
mobile version of something,
Alright.
portable, mobile.
So we'll save that a little bit. We won't get too much into that. We'll save that one, but
Yeah.
it'll get revealed. Revelations, and before the throne there was, as it were, a sea of glass like crystal, and around the throne, on each side of the throne, were the four living creatures, full of eyes in front and behind. The first living creature was the lion, the second was an ox, the third living creature was a man, and the fourth was an eagle in flight. And the four living creatures, each of them with 6 wings, are full of eyes all around and within. And day and night they never cease to say, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come."
Lovely that, isn't it?
Yeah,
Same
they're
glass,
talking
like
about
crystal,
the
and around the throne. Yeah, each side of the throne. I would say this is probably describing somewhere at these gates again, you know, where the sun's going to be start coming from and projected, where these four living creatures are again, the same description of the 4 appearances. So it's like the same description from someone else of the same thing that someone's seen, isn't it? The cherubim with the 4 faces.
Well, there's 2 different descriptions, and this is where it gets a little confusing. And I'm not real sure if this is the second one, but
These
there's
have got
2
6
different.
wings, ones, these ones, yeah, I've just noticed that they've got 6 wings.
Exactly, these are the seraphim. So there's 2 different sets of 4s that they're describing. The first 4 we just talked about. This is the second
Yeah.
set of 4 that are the seraphim, but they're still similar to the other ones, but they have different functions. Their frequencies have to be different. I think that's the different wings,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Just like you talked about with the Nazca lines, they use different, you know, glyphs to describe different frequencies.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there'll be something
And that's what
there.
this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably a different role, so same kind of technologies, different role, different parts to the technology.
And with the seraphim, he's holding 2 over his eyes, 2 at his feet, and he's flying with 2. I mean, to me, that in a way could be that he is using them to move along, but he might be projecting out energy as well as taking it in from somewhere. It could be in a flow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that
Well,
make sense?
yeah, the last part. I was just looking at the last part there, and day and night they never cease to say, "Holy, holy, holy." This
Yeah.
is telling you it's running 24/7, and it's doing its job, and it's holy, holy, holy. Obviously, it works. It's the creator was happy with it because it hasn't been scrapped. This one. And we'll get into the scrap. We'll get into the scrap models later on, no doubt.
Yeah, you don't want to break.
Yeah, he's not going to be happy with you if you don't do that job right. I'm telling you. Yep. So that one's functioning perfectly. You can tell these moments, can't you?
Yes. So Jude, and the angels who did not stay within their own positions of authority, but left their proper dwellings, he has kept in eternal chains under gloomy darkness until the judgment of the great day.
Wow.
And that's why I say you don't want to break. You don't want to break.
I was just going to say, wow, what did I just say? Naughty. You've been naughty. Yeah. So this, what it's on here is this angel, this cherubim, didn't stay within their own position of authority, so something went wrong, and it left their proper dwelling place and started causing issues somewhere else by the sound of it. Kept in eternal chains into gloomy darkness, so it's been put back into storage until the judgment of the great day. The judgment day being, it's probably going to be melted down and remanufactured or made into something else. But yeah, that one clearly had a malfunction and the creator wasn't happy. Which is the more we go through this, the more you're going to see how that really relates to what's actually going on.
It's true. Hebrews, above it were the cherubim of glory overshadowing the mercy seat. Of these things we cannot speak in detail.
Ooh, you can't let people know how it works. No, definitely not.
Nope.
Yeah, no, you're not looking in there. You can't touch that. We'll keep that for we'll keep that for another presentation. Yeah.
Yep, nothing to see. Move along.
That's definitely for the next presentation because we can go into more detail.
Yes, we can, and you will, just not today.
Yeah, coming soon.
Matthew, see that you do not despise one of these little ones. For I tell you that in heaven their angels always see the face of my Father who is in heaven.
Wow. So
Yeah.
in heaven their angels always see the face of my Father who is in heaven. Yeah, so
They're looking up.
They're looking up. That's projections in the sky, basically. That's,
Exactly.
in heaven their angels
Yes.
see the face of my Father who is in heaven. Yeah. Every one of them's got a parent that you don't see in the sky. The projection in the sky is the parent of the one below, basically. I think you could translate that to decode. There's a relationship there. You've got the physical model in the underworld and the projection in the heavens. There's a physical relationship between the two, and perhaps this is how they worded it, the Father who is in heaven. The projection which is in the sky. Something to consider there. I'm not saying that's 100%, but looking at that, yeah, I can see the relationship there, and looking at various scriptures and other things, I can see how they fit wives and children in, and when you look at what's on the centre of our grid, you can relate that to the dots in various places on the grid, and like the primary eight that we'll call them, or the 8 lotus leaves with the deity in the centre, if they're on our grid. I'll overlay them anyway, so people see what I'm relating to. But yeah, I'll carry on.
Alright. Jude says, but when the archangel Michael contended with the devil, was disputing about the body of Moses, he did not presume to pronounce a blasphemous judgment, but said, "The Lord rebukes you."
Blackie was in it this morning. Yeah, he was. He was sitting right in it, hasn't he?
Did you hear that?
Matthew says, "For in the resurrection they
one.
neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like the angels in heaven."
Yeah, the Jude 19 one, I'm not getting that very well. I'll have to go back to that. But the
Ah,
Archangel Michael, I'm pretty much sure now they relate to one of the primary eight.
Well, there's only 4 archangels, and they are the chief angels.
Yeah, they must be ones that haven't got the line connected to them, and various ones of them. Which must be like chiefs over the other 3.
Well, it could be the 4 directions as well. Maybe the directions, the 4 angels guarding the directions are the chief over, because it's like, nope, you can't come this way, get back. Get back. It's like a little goalie.
A blasphemous judgment mentioned there. So that means something went wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah, or they were trying to keep it from going wrong, but if you go wrong, you're tied down. You're not coming back.
Yeah, that's like saying, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, I look at the angels like they're trying to keep it all contained. You know what I mean? And if it goes out of whack, then
they are the they are the controllers, as Mauro Biglini puts it. Controllers, the ones managing the place, basically. If they're not working right, someone's not going to be happy again. Watch yourselves.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep, they're supervising the whole system, these archangels. That's why they're the chiefs, I think. And then Matthew says, "For in the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but they are like the angels in heaven." Not real sure about that one either.
Well, they're machines, so they can't get married, really. That's what tells me. For the resurrection, they're going to get, every Lumini gets resurrected at some point,
well,
and rejected, and they won't marry because they're not humans. They haven't got that kind of relationship going on. Nor can they be given in marriage, but are like angels in heaven. They've got a purpose, and the purpose is looking after this world and making it run right, and they're not going to, they don't come into the human factor of marriages and relationships. They've got their own functioning relationship that they have to adhere to.
Ezekiel has a lot to say too, but we'll just touch on him here. These were the living creatures that I saw underneath the God of Israel by the Chebar Canal, and I knew that they were the cherubim.
Yeah, nice description again. Underneath the God of Israel, so below the sun of our world, basically. I would say that could be relating to what they call God.
Yes.
I'm not saying God's the sun, I'm saying the Creator created all this, underneath the God of Israel by the Chebar Canal. I knew they were cherubim, living creatures. Yeah, living creatures in the underworld that they knew were cherubim. So that's someone confirming that they called them creatures. Obviously we can relate to them better as possibly like robots, depending, if they got AI or are they just like things on set paths. There's a bit more to look into there. Yeah, again, it's, you're looking at what they are. He's describing as living, perhaps because they move around. He may be classed as living creatures and didn't know what to call them, but he knew they were called cherubims.
Yes.
I don't think the word robot or that kind of technology even existed in those days. Never mind them trying to decode how they actually work and function. You've got to look at their description of what they're looking at and try and work out, see the relationship between that and a piece of technology, basically.
Yeah. Kings talks a lot about the Ark of the Covenant. In the inner sanctuary, he made 2 cherubim of olive wood, each 10 cubits high. This cubit thing really kind of messes with my mind. It says that it's the size of about a forearm. My issue with it is that things were much larger back then. All life was much larger. So
well, we have to go on a creator size scale, don't we? You know.
Exactly.
We could scale that actually. You know, if we made a 3D model and we used a human's forearm as a reference, then in the model you can scale that to any giant size arm you want just by increasing its scale, and it'll scale it up and up and up until you get the size you actually want it to present. So it's always going to be that kind of representation. You've just got to apply it to the giant, the creator, or whoever's arm is creating this technology.
Which puts it much bigger than what we thought.
Oh yeah, very big. Very, very big. Not human size, that's for sure. They might be able to reverse engineer them and make small ones now, but no, not this type.
Right, no. Colossians, for by him all things were created in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers.
Heaven and on earth, visible and invisible. You've got the visible technology in the underworld and the invisible projection in the heavens of the halos that we've been describing, the sundogs, the halos, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. All things are created through him and for him. Yeah, perfect description. These thrones, dominions, you know, the rulers and authorities. This is the technology having various different roles in the heavens. Exactly what it's telling you. Perfect.
Daniel says a lot.
Good on him.
Daniel he says here, the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, for I was left there with the kings of Persia. 21 days.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Prince of the Kingdom of Persia, 21 days. Michael, one of the chief. Well, that's telling me Michael, one of the chief princes, which is going to be one of the technologies, came to help me, for I was left there with the kings of Persia. So it seems like a timed event. It stopped in a location for 21 days, and then this other piece of technology kicked in and helped it on its way. I don't know if that's something gone wrong, or is this something that actually happens in the heavenly calendar of kinds? You know, there's something going on there that I can't fully understand yet.
I can't either, and maybe Jimbo eventually could answer this question. 21 days, I don't know why, and I don't have any information that tells me this is true, but for some reason I keep thinking about the moon. Like I'm not real
it's
sure.
definitely relating to a luminary, but which one? Yeah, there's 21 days, something happens somewhere, it seems, doesn't it? And then something starts up and helps along its way.
Yeah.
It's something that people that understand the astronomy, you know, that's one for them really. Is there something up there that seems to stand still for 3 weeks, 21 days, and then it's suddenly moved somewhere else? That might actually answer one of our planetary motions, that.
It might.
Because Jupiter seems to be taking its time in places, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes, and Saturn too.
Yeah, this is
and Neptune and Uranus.
Something that moves slowly, isn't it? It seems. It's very
or it
small
even
increments.
stops.
You know, there could be small increments, and it appears to stop. I don't know.
Or it could be that it broke.
You know, whatever it is, you know, Kingdom of Persia, it probably refers to the Middle East, or Persia could be a part of the sky. You know, it could be one of the constellations even that it's mentioned in here. A bit more to think about there, isn't there?
Yeah, because what we think things are called may not be what they were referring to at all. Look at Israel.
Yeah. I think the constellations one, you know, that could be something that stays in a certain constellation called Persia at the time. You know, that name could change depending on the culture.
Well, what about the constellation Perseus? Isn't there one, Andromeda and Perseus? Yeah.
So that could be relating to a luminary that's in Perseus or Andromeda for 21 days. So whatever it is, it seems to take 21 days to cross this kingdom. So that's got to be a luminary crossing part of the heavens, and it's in a certain location. You know, that could be one part of the zodiac even. It could be in say it could be in say Scorpio for 21 days, or you know, pick one of the zodiacs.
Yeah,
It's
anyone.
the
Yeah,
luminary in a location for 3 weeks, and then it's moved on to somewhere else. It seems. Yeah, it's interesting though.
it is very interesting. And the only thing I can really say is Ezekiel, poor guy, he was traumatized by these things because he talks about them over and over and over. As for the likeness of the faces, each had a human face. The 4 had the face of a lion on the right side. The 4 had the face of an ox on the left side. And the 4 had the face of an eagle. So this is something a little different, because the last ones we talked about, each one had a face. These have all 4 faces on 4 sides.
Yeah, it could be another model, wouldn't it?
It is, and
It's like one's got all the 4 faces.
yeah, it needs to probably turn and take different directions to project what it's projecting. You know, whereas the other ones are simply facing one way and moving along.
Or it's a better description of the same thing.
Yeah, it could be. It
Yeah,
could be.
'cause, you know, the way the
thought
first
about
one was
that as well.
described, I thought, well, it seems that all, like, each one of them's got 4 faces.
However,
Yeah,
what I did read further in is that there are different sets of these things, because it actually goes into how some of them only have 1 face and some of them have 4 faces. It
Yeah.
says that. I can't remember where, because this stuff has really got my mind turning and confused at times, but I think I have a decent understanding because of what it's describing and what we're doing. Even so, though, even with an understanding, it still gets you, because we haven't seen this stuff as well as they have. We have light pollution. We have pollutions that make us not be able to see what's going on.
Plus, we haven't had the tour in the underworld like a lot of them seem to be getting.
Exactly. And maybe it wasn't all covered up then, you know.
Definitely not, you know. So go back to scriptures and sacred geometry again. It's there in your face everywhere you look now.
Exactly. They could see it. We have had many things that have covered this stuff up, or it was just too powerful and it was pushed down.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So back to the arks. Then the priest brought the Ark of the Covenant to the excuse me, let me start over. Then the priest brought the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord to its place in the inner sanctuary of the house, in the most holy place, under the wings of the cherubim.
Yeah,
He put the cherubim.
Oh, go on, Karen.
Sorry. He put the cherubim in the innermost part of the house, and the wings of the cherubim were spread out so that a wing of one touched the one wall, and the wing of the other cherubim touched the other wall. Their other wings touched each other in the middle of the house.
Going to the first one, the priest brought the Ark of the Covenant to the Lord in the place of the inner sanctuary of the house, in the most holy place underneath the wings of the cherubim. So it tells me they were taking a piece of technology to the underneath the wings of the cherubim. What they're going to put in there, what they described in that scripture as hot coals, I'm going to be covering more in the next presentation, so I'll leave that one at that.
Yep.
And the second part, he put the part out. Yeah, so the big wings spread out.
And that's so they can
Yeah.
conduct. Their wings have to touch the
they
walls
do
as
like to
well as
mention
each
these
other.
wings, don't they? They do like to mention these wings spreading out and being laden in gold. They're very important, the wings in all this scripture. They're not just mentioning them because they're wings. They've got a role to play.
Exactly. They're conducting this stuff. I mean, they have to be there. They have to touch so that it can pass on. Right? Otherwise, the energy will shoot out into.
It's part of the build, yeah. And obviously, the wings obviously move up and down. They can it seems to elevate as they describe it. It lifts, the wings lift up, and like I said earlier, things start interconnecting, switching on, and start to work. Once powered up, that is. They've got to be powered up first.
Hebrews, do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware.
Yeah, that could just mean, you know, people, random people, that. And, you know, I think what it might mean is you might actually meet some nice people. I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's hard to tell who's describing that, you know. Or why they worded it like that.
Are they blue from? Oh, white.
Is that Ephesians? Is that how you say that book?
Ephesians, it looks like, yeah.
For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over the present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places.
That tells me they're not fighting against mankind. They're there to do a purpose against the rulers, authorities. They might class as actual, you know, physics and how this technology works. Cosmic powers over this present darkness. We've got the power to get over this darkness by using this technology against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places.
That could have been during the time of dark, you know, like you were saying, before the grid was.
Yeah, the present darkness. So, you know, this technology does give us our light show in the sky, basically.
Yeah. Corinthians, in their case, the God of this world has blinded the minds of unbelievers to keep them from seeing the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God.
So yeah, it tells you there. There's people telling lies about how it works. Yeah. Someone that says, well, it's basically warning. You know, there's people in this world are going to tell you lies and try and hide this how it works.
Definitely, and they do.
Oh yes, they do.
They were right. Matthew, his appearance was like lightning, and his clothes white as snow. I love the way they use the elements to describe these things, because that's what they are. I believe they're elements. Their energy.
Well, when you look at it, yeah, it looks like you see the flash of lightning, and that would look like white as snow, as opposed to your eyes.
Yeah.
Big white
Yes,
flash happening.
Yes, and if it was projecting something, it would be like lightning coming, you know.
Or he was trying to describe perhaps the cherubims above the mercy seat, you know, where the electricity will arc across, and he's seen it and seen the appearance like lightning, and it looked white as snow. Well, you know, was he looking at the Ark of the Covenant when he's what he's trying to describe here? Maybe possible.
Matthew also says, then he will say to those on his left, depart from me, you cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels.
Sounds like one of the Jawas, doesn't it? Let's take them to the scrapyard, get them belted down.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of depart from me, you cursed. Something messed up, or someone wasn't happy again, were they? Eternal fire. Yeah, there's always a fire burning in hell. Yeah, it seems to be melting and smelting and casting and pouring.
And prepared is definitely, it's prepared. You have to take something and make it into what you want it.
Yeah. You have to do this. Eternal fire.
Whatever.
You have to melt things down to recast them into something else.
Right, and that is also the words that you're thrown into the fire.
Now,
But
while the devil's on screen, one, remember Satan was cast into the abyss. I'll mention that part
yes.
now.
Uh-huh.
What it probably really means is Satan was cast in the abyss. Now,
Yes.
when you think of cast, people think something tossed away somewhere. No, what we're probably talking about is cast as in metal pouring, cast in metals. Because when you go back to the descriptions of cherubims, you start to see there's bronze, there's gold. You know, the cast in metals. This is metal technology, metal beings or metal machines that they're creating. This is what's being cast.
Yep. And the eternal fire, that's where everything is prepared. It's where it's all being cast. It's not being thrown there for punishment, I agree. Maybe it broke.
Yeah, something went wrong and nope, scrap that one. Bring another.
Ezekiel just has a lot to say. Ezekiel has some really, really good descriptions. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was your covering: sardius, topaz, and diamond, beryl, onyx, and jasper, sapphire of emerald and carbuncle, and crafted into gold were your settings and your engravings. On the day that you were created, they were prepared.
Ooh, that's lovely, that
Yeah.
description, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
The settings were in gold.
Yeah, engravings, the day you were created, they were prepared. So yeah, there was stones and things put aside ready for it being created and put together, basically. A piece of the manufacturing process right before your very eyes, right there.
It is. The day you were created, they were prepared. So they had all the stuff ready to be its covering. I mean, it's...
Yeah, what else could it mean? Yeah, it's yeah, he took great care, and you know, to do engravings, set stones inside them. Yeah, he's making them look really spectacular.
Yeah, very pretty. Ezekiel again, and their whole body, their rims, and their spokes, their wings, and the wheels were full of eyes all around. The wheels that had the four of them had. It is hard to read this stuff.
Well, there, you know, the rims and the spokes, there's some wheels right there. You know, this is wheels on a vehicle again. Wings, and the wheels were full of eyes all around the wheels. You know, when you're looking at metalwork, especially gold, because we've seen this gold manufactured on the wings, it is going to reflect what's in the room around it. So this is maybe what is describing as eyes. You know, you're going to see a lot of reflections of this highly polished, shiny metal. And that's what it's describing there.
Yeah, I agree. Ezekiel, he said to the man clothed in linen, "Go in among the whirling wheels underneath the cherubim. Fill your hands with burning coals from between the cherubim and scatter them over the city." And he went in before my eyes.
Whirling wheels underneath the cherubim. Now, what could be whirling? You know, you're looking at an accelerator again, aren't you?
Yes. And the burning coals.
Yeah,
Things will get hot.
Stuff being manufactured by this process. You know, this process does harvest elements. So we could be looking at fill your hands with some of these gathered elements that are just appearing from nowhere. The alchemy of the machine.
Burning coal can run a lot of machines. Might not only be producing it, but it could be actually being used to help keep these things going, perhaps.
Yeah, yeah. It could be related to the technology that actually powers them.
Yeah.
People will hear more of that in the next one.
Yes. Ezekiel, their wings touched one another. Each one of them went straight forward without turning as they went.
Yeah, it went straight forward without turning as they went. That sounds like it's setting off on its one of its paths, doesn't it? You know,
Yes.
going to go from the east to the west. It's setting out on its path, and this person Ezekiel witnessed it. So he clearly seen a cherubim setting off and going somewhere, and it didn't turn as he watched it.
Right. It was a straight path. Psalms again, it may be a repeat. He rode on the cherubim and flew. He came swiftly on the wings of the wind.
Nice description. Yeah, that's someone riding on the back of a cherubim, and it looks like they're flying, but you know, they're on some kind of vehicle or going above. They're not touching the ground with their feet. In other words, they're on something, as described, something with wheels and spokes that moves and turns sometimes and not others. So someone rode on the back of it, on the wings of the wind. Well, the wings would be the angel's wings, the cherubim's wings, and the accelerators are generating the wind. The wings of the wind, yeah, very nice wording.
So the last two that I have here are kings again. He overlaid the cherubim with gold, and it also says the other cherubim also measured 10 cubits. Both cherubim had the same measure and the same form.
Yeah, ask yourself, people, what is the overlaying with gold? Cherubim, yeah. That cherubim will overlaid with gold, so it'll have an eternal, lasting use for this particular role. This particular cherubim's performing. You know, you want them to last, you're gonna have to coat them in gold. That's what that's telling me.
Yeah. Now we're going to shift. We're going to shift over to Enoch. So, now again, this is not in any particular order. I went through and I picked out things that I thought were very interesting as far as describing some of the things that we are doing. But I encourage everyone to read it.
Oh yeah.
Or listen to it, but reading it, you know, for me, when I read the text, I can contemplate it more. Does that make sense?
You can relate to it now, can't you?
Exactly.
That's exactly what it comes down to, relating to all this to something you can visually, see, basically, you know. Now we're looking at the model and concept we're playing with. We can see what it's telling us.
Definitely. And it's beautiful. It's just amazing,
yeah.
you know. And I was never a scripture. I'm not going to say I wasn't spiritual, because I'm a very spiritual person, but I was never into Bibles or scriptures or anything like that either. So this was quite a shock to me. I mean, when I read it, you know my reaction. I was like, oh my God, literally.
It just slaps you in the face, doesn't it? This is what it's talking about. Now you can see the construct. It does.
Yeah.
That's exactly that to me. I thought, wow, this makes perfect sense now.
Yeah, it does. So Enoch. Great fear and trembling shall seize them, even to the ends of the earth. The lofty mountains shall be troubled, and the exalted hills depressed, melting like a honeycomb in the flame. The earth shall be immerged, and all things which are in it will perish, while judgment shall come upon all, even all of the righteous.
Ooh, definitely your department on that one.
Well,
volcanoes?
you know, huh?
It looks like it's
What I've
describing
learned,
creation, doesn't it?
yes, because what I've learned recently, and we'll go into this a bit more, but some mountains trembling, which I would consider being troubled, can lead to depression of other hills. So if a volcano explodes, the hills can actually sink quite a distance away. And that would be the creation. It's pulling it out of one area and putting it out into another.
Another way could
That
be
is-
technology switching on, causing the mountains to tremble, and with trembling you get
This is
quakes
true.
and things like that happen, and some are pushed up and some are lowered, aren't they? Yeah, troubled,
Yeah.
exalted, depressed. So some are elevating and some are depressing, basically. So yeah, it's the world at work, isn't it? Doing what it does.
Yes. This next one is quoted by Jude. So Enoch is quoting Jude, which to me it kind of sounds like maybe when everything had to be destroyed and the grid had to be put up, or the grid was just being put up. But anyway, behold, he comes with 10,000 of his saints to execute judgment upon them and destroy the wicked, and reprove all the carnal for everything which the sinful and ungodly have done and committed against him.
10,000 of his saints, you got to think of a saint with his halo. Again, we're talking halos, and again, we're talking a cherubim projecting one. So, yeah, it tells me there's thousands and thousands, which makes sense. The 144,000 described in scripture, I think probably possibly relates to these.
Yeah. Well, they describe 10,000s.
Not possibly, definitely.
The 10,000s are the angel, his saints. Those are the angels. Those are the cherubims. It's said in other texts. That's exactly what it is. He's bringing his angels, which are the halos, which are the cherubim.
And as we showed in other work one, we had the 12,000 in each sign of the zodiac, creating the 144,000.
Yes. Yeah. So then they know that the heavenly luminaries cannot change their paths, that each rise and set regularly, every one at its proper period, without transgressing the commandments which they have received. They behold the earth and understand what is there transacted from the beginning to the end of it. They see that every work of God is invariable in the period of its appearance. They behold the summer and winter, perceiving that the whole earth is full of water, and that the cloud and dew and the rain refresh it, except 14 trees which are not deciduous, which wait from the old to the appearance of the new leaf for 2 or 3 winters.
Nice, isn't it?
Yes.
Change not their paths. Very predictable. Yeah.
They're programmed.
Sets regularly at its proper period without changing the commands they've been received.
Exactly. When you do a computer program, don't you enter your commands to make it work the way you want it to work?
And it should never change unless something goes wrong, and then someone's not happy and it's down to the scrapyard again.
In eternal darkness, even.
Yeah, chained to a wall forever.
You don't screw up. You don't break.
You don't want to be doing that.
And that's what the archangels are saying. Hey, don't break. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You will regret it. You'll be melted.
You don't want to go to the bad place, the abyss. It's dark in there.
They see too how the seas and rivers together complete their respective operations. And the women conceiving brought forth giants.
Yeah, the seas and rivers together complete their respective operations. So, it's telling you the seas and the rivers have all got a mode of operation going on. Because you've got to think now, the source of rivers, where's it coming from? It seems to be pumped back into the ground, and it comes from a puddle in the middle of nowhere, and the next thing you've got a river that goes for miles. Where's it coming from?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole operation of processes going on down there to consider.
Next it goes a bit into the individuals. So Azael taught men to make swords, knives, shields.
They'll be against Brazil. Their next match is against Brazil. Yeah.
And the workmanship of bracelets, ornaments, the use of paint, beautifying the eyebrows, the use of stones. Barkael taught people how to observe the stars. Tamiel taught astronomy. And Azaradel taught the motion of the moon. Again the Lord said to Raphael, bind Azael hand and foot, cast him in the darkness, and opening in the desert, which is in Dudiel, cast him there.
Oh, look at that. It tells me Azazel's malfunctioned. He's been cast down into the into the pit with the others up in the desert, which is in Dudiel. Cast him in there. Yeah, it looks like he's going to get recast. Or
Yep.
yeah, something's gone wrong there, hasn't it?
Yeah, he messed up. So
Malfunction of some kind went on there.
thrown upon him hurled and pointed stones, covering him with darkness. There shall he remain forever, cover his face so that he may not see the light. And in the great day of judgment, and in the great day of judgment, let him be cast in the fire.
Oh, what a description again, you know, he's been put into storage, hasn't he, in a dark room. Yeah, in a dark room until they need to recast him and make another one.
Yeah, till the next one breaks.
Spare parts room, isn't it, clearly?
Pretty much. Bind them for 70 generations underneath the earth, even to the day of judgment and the consummation, until the judgment, the effect of which will last forever, be completed. Then shall they be taken away into the lowest depths of the fire in torments, and in confinement shall they be shut up forever.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what happens if you break.
Yeah, into storage again. Wait a certain time or until that when is needed and get it, chuck it back in the fire and melt it down again, isn't it?
Yeah.
And shut up forever, basically.
Yeah. Shut up. Bloody
thing's too noisy, shut it down.
Exactly, it's squeaking. You hear that?
Where's the oil gone?
Immediately they elevated me aloft to heaven. I proceeded until I arrived at a wall built with stones of crystal. A vibrating flame surrounded it, which began to strike me with terror, and drew nigh to us. Oh, go ahead. And the striking him with terror, I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with frequencies, so I'm just going to throw it out there, that take out their EMF reader. Because if there's high EMF frequencies in a home, then it will actually cause the person to feel paranoid and fear, like someone's watching them. Those sensations are actually caused from the energy, which could be spirits. We're not getting into that right now. But the energy alone and the frequencies can cause people to tremble, shake, the hairs to stand up, and them to feel very paranoid.
Yeah, vibrating flame surrounded it. You know, you could be talking about electrical arcing off something here as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the greatness of that energy would make you feel.
Yeah, and you're right. Yeah, with the frequencies. Yeah, yeah. If there's certain frequencies, humans are going to. I mean, the guy didn't know what it was to start with by the sound of it, so it's going to scare him anyway. You know,
Yeah.
what the hell is that? What is this thing I'm looking at here? What's that going to do? You've got to put yourself
a
in their
vibrating
shoes, haven't you?
flame.
Put yourself in their sandals and think, what the hell is this?
And drew nigh to a spacious habitation built also with stones of crystal. Its walls too, as well as the pavement, were formed with stones of crystals. And crystal likewise was the ground. Its roof had the appearance of agitated stars and flashes of lightning, and among them were the cherubim of fire in a stormy sky. A flame burned all around its walls, and its portal blazed with fire. When I entered into this dwelling, it was hot as fire and cold as ice. No trace of delight or life was there. Terror overwhelmed me, and a fearful shaking seized me.
Nice description, isn't it?
Yeah, Enoch has very good words.
A very nice ornate place where a very important piece of technology basically is, and he's looking around it trying to describe what he's seeing.
Yeah. Now the giants, who have been born of spirit and of flesh, shall be called upon the earth evil spirits, and on the earth shall be their habitation. Evil spirits shall proceed from their flesh, because they were created from above. From the holy watchers was their beginning and primary foundation. Evil spirits shall they be upon the earth, and the spirits of the wicked shall they be called. The habitation of the spirits of heaven shall be in heaven, but upon the earth shall be the habitation of terrestrial spirits, who are born on earth. The spirits of giants shall be like clouds, which shall oppress, corrupt, fall, contend, and bruise upon the earth.
Well, you go first one.
Well, some of the stuff, like I said, it still confuses me. However,
yeah, you've got to now,
our land.
You've got to really, find, is this someone describing an object, or is this someone describing how something works? There's a lot of ways you've got to look at what they're trying to tell you, haven't you?
Yes. Well, our land has many, many giants in it. There was the war. Jimbo has a lot more information about this. He's studied a lot about these giants, but there was some kind of a war, definitely, and it might not have been a war like we think. Maybe these things decided to do their own thing and go against the programming, which we see where that gets you. So, as for the evil spirits, I mean, we know that, well, go back to the giants. We know they're our earth. They're in our earth. They're under our earth. They are our earth. We walk on them. Look at Mud Fossil. He supposedly has DNA that proves that there is DNA in our land, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Roger's done a lot of legwork on giants and titans, and he's still finding them today, and he's still presenting them to people. Fantastic research and work. Got to commend Roger. He's a man speaking from his heart. He really is.
Yes, and he just shows us what he finds.
Yeah, and that's all we're doing, people. We're revealing what our research tells us and what Scripture's decoding to us and putting it out there for consideration, which is exactly what Roger and many others are doing. You've got to put it out there for consideration.
As for the evil, I still truly lean towards that it's the vibration that these things are putting off. Some have a good uplifting vibration, and some have a lower vibration. When I think of evil, I definitely think of the lower vibration. Well, if you go against God or break, I mean, well, you'd have a pretty low vibration, right? If you break.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But again, I'm just taking it how I...
If you fail on the checksums, something's not right. That's what it tells you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's a checksum for everything, and if it's not functioning right, then there's a problem.
Yeah. They shall cause lamination. No food shall they eat, and they shall be thirsty. They shall be concealed, and shall not rise up against the Son of Man and against women, for they come forth during the days of slaughter and destruction. Well, I mean, that's really self-explanatory. These giants slaughtered us. Some of them were cannibalistic.
This would actually be relating to the angels again. They're not here to cause harm. They don't eat food. They shall be thirsty. They are concealed. and shall not rise up against the sons of men. So they're not attacking us or women. They
Right, but they're
come
coming
forth
forth
in
during the
the days of
days.
slaughter and destruction. Yeah,
Well, this
I
could
think
be the grid going up to
it could
protect
be.
us.
It could be. Slaughter and destruction.
Yeah,
Come
because
forth
that's
in
what
the
was
days of
probably
slaughter and
going
destruction.
on.
Yeah.
When the giants were around, they were destroying everything. The
Yeah.
grid goes up,
Oh yeah,
you
the
know,
grid goes up and it starts cutting them to pieces basically. You cannot
and
walk through
protecting
these.
us.
You cannot walk through these halos. These are the origins of lightning. So it's going to zap you. You go anywhere, anything big goes near those, they're going to get zapped. And it doesn't matter what size they are.
Yeah, and they won't rise up against us.
You
You
know,
know,
it
it
makes me
was
wonder: is this a part of the petrification process? Walking into one of those halos, perhaps. You know, would that cause instant petrification? Because when you think,
it
when you
might.
look at Roger's work, you know, you look at these rocks, and it looks like the oxygen's actually bubbled out of the rocks. It's overheated. Well, surely that would suggest an electric shock. Your blood's basically boiling, and it's bubbling out of its veins and things. You know, it very much could describe how the petrification of these titans and giants happened.
Yeah. And I beheld the receptacles of light and of thunder at the extremities of the place where it was the deepest. There was a bow of fire and arrows in their quiver, a sword of fire and every species of lightning.
Every species of lightning. Ooh, what a description. Isn't it? You know, that's telling you there's
Yeah.
different types of electricity right there. Which we know there
Yep.
is, you know, there's various types of electrical form going on. And how it can be harnessed. Yeah, nice description.
I agree. But we'll get into that next presentation.
Yeah.
So, um, then they elevated me to a babbling stream and to a fire in the west, which received all of the setting of the sun. I came to a river of fire which flowed like water and emptied itself into the great sea westwards. I saw every large river until I arrived at the great darkness. I went to where all of the flesh migrate, and I beheld the mountains of gloom which constitutes winter, and the place from which issues the water in every abyss. I also saw the mouths of all rivers in the world, and the mouths of the deep. I then surveyed the receptacles of all the winds, perceiving that they are contributed to adorn the whole creation, and to preserve the foundation of the earth.
Well, the first thoughts when it mentioned babbling stream made me think of politicians. I think this guy's been to Downing Street or somewhere in UK. But no, babbling stream and a fire in the west. Yeah, there is a big fire, great fire in the west. That's been described a lot, isn't it? This fire in the west
Yes.
receives the setting of the sun. Yeah, nice, very nice. You know, that's got to be the west gate. On our grid, the gate in the west, or the portals in the west, if you want to call them those. And a river of fire, yeah, flowed like water. Yeah, you're looking at lava there, aren't you? Definitely lava. Empties itself into the Great Sea westwards, which is exactly what it's still doing to it today, isn't it?
Yes.
Every
it
large
is.
river, where all the flesh migrates. That's got to be like the migrating birds and species. Must be a place they'll go to there. Be a nice place, wouldn't it?
Oh, beautiful, I bet.
The mouths of all the rivers of the world. Well, there you go. There's a nice source for all these rivers. We just talked about the source of rivers before.
Yeah.
The
And it goes
receptacles of
into
all the winds. Yeah, we know it's generating the winds.
Yeah, and we'll get into that a bit more coming up. I believe I have it in here.
Yeah.
There's different winds as well. All right, these next ones I think I'm going to read in a bunch. I surveyed the stone which supports the corners of the earth. I also beheld the four winds which bear up the earth and the firmament of heaven. And I beheld the winds occupying the exalted sky. arising in the midst of heaven and earth, and constituting the pillars of heaven. And I saw the winds which turn the sky, which cause the orb of the sun and all the stars to set. And over the earth I saw the winds which support the clouds. I saw the path of the angels. I perceived at the extremity of the earth the firmament of the heaven above, and then I passed towards the south.
What an amazing description again. Stone supports the corners of the earth.
Yes.
Well,
Which is
we
our
at the
pillars.
Can you leave it lit up in blue so I can go through it slowly?
Yes, sorry about that.
Jumping ahead there, I'll see you.
Right
Yeah,
here.
let's break that down a bit. Let's break this down a bit further.
Yep.
Yeah, the stone
Start on the
supports
first
the
one.
corners of the earth. You know, it's telling you there's some structure in the corners of the realm somewhere.
Well, and it's singular, so that was kind of grabbed me. I surveyed the stone, which supports the corner of the earth.
Or he's only been to one
Or is
corner
it-
and suggests that the other corners are going to be the same.
Yeah, or it's just one type of stone that was used.
Yeah, the type of stone used. Yeah, that would do it. The four winds which bear up the earth and the firmament of heaven. The four winds, they've been referenced in the north, south, east and west before.
Yes.
Which bear up the earth and bear up. That's a good word, you know, bear up. It's coming from below.
Yeah.
From the firmament of heaven. So it's telling you, this firmament, our research doesn't touch on the firmament yet, but it's telling you there's some kind of a structure, isn't it?
Definitely.
Our researcher can only go as high as the halos. We can't see what's beyond those, but this firmament just keeps popping up, doesn't it? So it's suggesting there's something more to see.
Definitely.
I beheld the winds occupying the exalted sky. Yeah, he's going to notice the winds in certain areas, plottable on maps. You can go to a map and there's certain tornadoes there 24/7. They never move. People got to question that surely. What the hell is causing that tornado to sit there and not move?
Exactly. And there's probably still those kind of things, and we're not allowed to go there and see them.
Yeah.
I don't know that for sure, but I would imagine it's still there. Something's holding it all
it's
up
still running,
still.
so nothing's changed. It still works.
So, arising in the midst of heaven and earth, and constituting the pillars of heaven.
In the middle of heaven and earth, arising from basically the land. And number 6 is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Getting a bit noisy here for me now to talk.
I saw the winds which turn the sky, which caused the orb of the sun and all the stars to set. And over the earth I saw the winds which supported the clouds. I mean, these are all very self-descriptive, honestly. The winds are turning the whatever's in the sky, which the clouds, right?
Yeah, the winds.
I've heard about that.
The winds are moving the clouds around.
Mhm.
Your jet stream, that's it's clearly coming from all this technology. The orb of the sun and all
Yeah.
the stars to set. Yeah. Over the earth, so the winds which support the clouds. Yeah, the winds that are supporting them in the sky. The winds. Again, you can look at tornadoes, and above them, there's your clouds. They're generated somewhere, aren't they?
Yeah. I saw the path of the angels. I perceived at the extremities of the earth the firmament of heaven above it, and then I passed towards the south.
Yeah, very nice. So that was someone going on a tour. Enoch being taken on part
Well,
of the tour.
I think he may have been west at that point, right? Because he talked about how the sun sets in the west. So.
Yeah, he was definitely in the west, and the extremity in the west he was taken to, where obviously there's a piece of the firmament above it, and then passed on towards the south. So yeah, he's got to the end of the western tour, and now looks like he's heading south.
So let's go south.
Yep, let's go.
All right. Again, I just picked out pieces, but some of it is in chunks and some of it just didn't grab me, I guess. Where burnt both day and night, 6 mountains formed of glorious stones, 3 towards the east and 3 towards the south. Those which were towards the east were of variegated stone, one of which was margarite, and another of antimony. Those towards the south were of red stone. In the middle, one reached to the heaven like the throne of God, a throne composed of alabaster, the top of which was sapphire. I saw too a blazing fire hanging over one of the mountains. And there I saw a place on the other side of an extended territory where the waters were collected.
Interesting, huh?
Yes. So in the south, there's a mountain that reaches possibly to the firmament if it's still there.
Well, going back to Series' research, he told me the highest mountain in the world is in Antarctica. It's not Everest. He said he's managed to get the data to locate one in the South Antarctic somewhere that's the highest in the world.
And we're never going to see it.
And there clearly is something to see at the top of it, going by this.
Definitely something to see at the top of it. So then on the other side of it, there's extended territory where the waters are collected. I find that very interesting.
Wow, yeah, that's looking now beyond our realm when you think about that. Extended territory, or does it mean what we really see on our, you know, when you look at our map, look at the size of Antarctica, that is an extended territory.
It is, and if it is frozen, even parts of it, bits of it, most of it, I mean, the water's obviously collected there, otherwise it wouldn't freeze. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if it's not freezing, yeah, it obviously tells you there's some heat there. As Admiral Byrd described it, and he described it sounded like a tropical paradise, the place he was describing.
Exactly, and that could be beyond what we see. We see the ice, but we don't see very far into it. You know?
Well, it's on our map, it's the greatest landmass that you can see, isn't it? Look
exactly.
At the size of it on our map. It is huge.
They portray it as all ice. It can't be all ice. I'm sorry, it can't.
No, there's things beyond there they don't want us to see, clearly.
The ice could simply be the container for the waters to be collected. Doesn't mean our whole world, but our world is water, but still.
Yeah, it's possibly got sides, you know, elevated sides. The Antarctica is a very elevated place compared to the rest of the world. This is what Series data shows, yeah. We've discussed that, I think, in one of the previous videos, the elevation there.
Yeah. I likewise beheld terrestrial fountains deep in the fiery columns of heaven. And in the columns of heaven I beheld fires which descended without number, but neither on high nor into the deep. Over these fountains also I perceived a place which had neither the firmament of heaven above, nor the solid ground underneath of it. Neither was there water above it, nor anything on wing, but the spot was desolate.
Very interesting, deep in the fiery columns of heaven. I think what he's trying to describe here, it sounds like comets or something, doesn't it? Columns that beheld fires which descend without number, neither high nor into the deep. It sounds like there's comets or electrical arcing or something going on there. Is this the kind of fountain he's describing? Some electrical arcing going on?
Could be.
Sure.
Probably, I mean, we definitely need to look more into this stuff, but putting it out there, to me, is a very good idea.
Yeah, it is, yeah, it's got to be considered, you know, and the same again, the solid ground beneath it, and neither was the water, so it's kind of describing what you would call a void, you know, it sounds like there's a void of, unless it was too dark to see anything, I'm not sure, but yeah, the spot was definitely desolate.
Well, it
was
is.
there, you know, you're saying there's nothing there, and when you look at Antarctica, I think emperor penguins. That's probably all that lives there. But yeah, big but. But if there's a tropical paradise beyond there, then there's going to be all kinds of creatures living there, surely.
There'd have to be, right? Because that's where life is sustainable. But it goes a little more into it. So this is the place where, and there I beheld the 7 stars, like great blazing mountains, and like spirits entreating me. And then the angel said, this place, until the consummation of heaven and earth, will be the prison of the stars and the host of heaven.
Wow. Does that tell you right there? 7 stars, our 7 major luminaries, been held in a location until the heaven and earth is prepared for them to start being projected into. The hosts of heaven, our 7 major luminaries, the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter and Saturn. There before they were even projected into the heavens. Part of the creation, guys.
And this next one, I didn't know what the term rollover meant, so I actually asked someone that works with metal.
Fire are those which
well, you roll metal when you're forging it. You roll it to make it stronger. So let's read that now, knowing that when you roll metal, you're making it stronger or durable when you're forging it. The stars which roll over fire are those which transgressed the commandment of God before their time arrived, for they came not in the proper season. Therefore he was offended with them and bound them until the period of the consummation of their crimes in the secret year.
Well, that right there tells you something went wrong with these stars, and it looks like whatever they were created from, or the projector, I think that's actually describing the projector now, the part where it would project from, and something was wrong. They didn't come out when commanded to, or they come out before the time. Something malfunctioned and didn't come out in the proper season, therefore he was offended with them and bound them until the period of the consummation of their crimes in the secret year. So yeah, he's placed them somewhere because something didn't quite go right with them.
Yeah. Don't break. That's all I can say. Don't break down.
You don't want to be going there.
Then I made a circuit to a place which nothing was completed. There too I beheld 7 stars of heaven bound in together like a great mountain and like a blazing fire. I exclaimed, for what species of crimes have they been bound, and why have they been removed to this place? Then Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me and who conducted me, answered, Enoch, wherefore dost thou ask? Wherefore reason within thyself, and anxiously inquire? These are those of the stars which have transgressed the commandment of the Most High God, and are here bound until the infinite number of days their crimes be completed.
Very nice. So he's come across a place where they kind of stored yet again.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah. When you look at that, read through that, yeah. And Enoch's thinking, what have these lot done wrong? Why are they here? You know, he's in his mind, he's querying what he's looking at. Why are these here? And he's kind of anxious, and you can tell by what the one of the holy angels has answered him. So it seems these technologies can communicate to you, or this is someone that's authorized, say, to communicate between humans and cherubims. You know, you can ask yourself, who is this he's speaking to? Wherefore does thou ask? You know, this person or machine is querying Enoch's line of thought. Why does this trouble you, kind of thing? This is how it works. You know, this is how it works, mate. What's wrong with you? You know, they're not required yet, so here they will stay until needed.
Yeah.
So it's a location in the underworld he was taken to, and these are stored there for a particular period of time, it seems.
Yeah, and it says I made the circuit to a place which nothing was completed, so it wasn't done. It wasn't completed. That's why they were waiting.
Yeah. waiting for their moment. Yeah, their trigger, their cue to start and go and do what they do.
Yeah.
Like it says about the infinite number of the days of their crimes to be completed. You know, it's just a countdown. You're looking at a countdown timer until they're supposed to do something again.
Exactly. And the wordplay, crimes, you know, we know it to be something terrible nowadays, but the original meaning may not have been terrible. No, crimes could just be that the things you've done, you know.
Yeah.
Your crimes are the things you do, the acts you.
Yeah. I mean, you can look at Enoch's mind, and he's just trying to query everything he's been shown, but it's beyond his comprehension. It seems of exactly what it is he's been shown. What what he's finding alarming and scary is quite a normal and natural process going on. It's just a human reaction to what they're looking at. You know, this technology and the scale of it drops men to the knees, and you can see why, because they cannot comprehend what they're looking at.
Yeah, it would be hard to. It's hard to articulate this anyway.
It really is, isn't it? It's a little bit easier for us because we can understand technology. We're brought up with it, and once you start seeing it and how it works and relate it to what's going on in the underworld, it's pretty easy to put together.
I agree. From thence I afterwards passed on to another terrific place. Enoch, why art thou alarmed and amazed at this terrific place, at the sight of this place of suffering? This, he said, is the prison of the angels, and here they are kept forever. From thence I proceeded to another spot where I saw in the west a great and lofty mountain, a strong rock, and 4 delightful places.
Yeah.
Internally. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to mention about the, what is it again? The prison of the angels, and here they are kept forever. It's, what they're calling the prison really is the underworld. This is where they work and operate. They're kept there forever because this is where they're designed to work from. It's their work environment, basically, what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Forever, guys. They're still down there. They're still doing what they were intended to do. Amazing.
Yes, it says forever. It says until the consummation of earth and heaven, and that has not happened. They are still there. They're still there. We just don't know where to look. And even if we did, could we even get down there, And then if we got down there, would we want to?
Well, I think it's every human's right to go and see this amazing place, isn't it, really? Imagine a school trip down there, take a little roller coaster ride down below for a few miles and come back up. Whoa, the sights you would see. That's
I can guarantee you no one would quit school. We wouldn't have this problem with people not wanting to be in school if things like that happened.
Education with this on board, yeah? What you would learn at school. Yeah, I think you'd pay a bit more attention. Yeah, you would definitely live your life differently as well.
Yeah, you would.
You would, because this brings scriptures to life. It does.
Yeah. Internally, it was deep, spacious, and very smooth as if it had been rolled over. And it was both deep and dark to behold. Again, the rolled over, smoothing it out, and it's making it stronger.
Manufactured, yeah.
That's what you do when you forge.
Very
things.
Large, spacious, and manufactured is what he's describing, isn't he?
Yes. We'll finish it up because this is all I have for the rest of Enoch. Then Raphael, one of the holy angels who were with me, answered and said, "These are the delightful places where the spirits, the souls of the dead, will be collected. For them they were formed, and here will be collected all of the souls of the sons of men. 3 separations have been made between the spirits of the dead, and thus have the spirits of the righteous been separated, namely by a chasm, by water, and by light above."
Very interesting.
It is very interesting.
Delightful places for sure, and bet they're very delightful. spirits and the souls of the dead will be collected. Now, you know, is this referring to the souls of humans, or does it refer to the, what you know, could be the souls of technology being shut down? Yeah, will be collected.
Well, I'm not sure about that part, but it does refer to the sons of men, which is us.
Yeah.
So you know, I don't know, but that's also just probably trying to tell us, like, okay, the technology's below, then we have the separation for the humans, and then we have the projections up in the sky, the light above.
Yeah.
But if you looked at it like chasm, I'm not sure what that word is. I'll have to look it up. But we do have earth, we have water, and we have light.
Yeah, chasm's like an abyss, a deep, isn't it? A cavern kind of idea.
It could be the deep and the abyss has been, you know, discovered, I guess, so to speak. You know, there's places that are very deep on Earth, full of water, but then when they go down so low, it's been described as there's another lake below the lake.
Yeah.
The waters are more dense, so they separate. But why are they more dense?
What's the souls
you know?
of the dead as well will be collected. You know, if now you know there's a creator, you know, your soul. Will you be judged one day on what you've been doing in this world? These people behind hiding this really need to start thinking about this.
It's true. And not only that, but the whole world in general. If we're going to be judged on the things that we've done in this world, then the world needs to get a grip. They need to rethink their actions and how they treat people. We don't treat people like garbage, which is what the world does. Everyone is out for themselves, and that's not the way it was supposed to be. Right, but that's not really what this is about. We're more talking about the construct.
Yeah.
We all have to seek our own souls and figure out who we want to be, how do we want to portray it, and how do we want to be remembered when we leave this world. That's on us, not
That's exactly all you've got left, how you want to be remembered.
Exactly. And then, based on that, we can grow as a group. But until we fix ourselves individually, we can't grow as a group. Well, we are growing as a group, but we suck. Like, we are horrible.
Yeah.
We are horrible.
We're a primitive species.
Yes.
At times.
If you don't agree with me, I'll kill you.
Yeah.
Well, that's not, yeah, who I want to be. That's not who I want to be.
Yeah.
And that's all I can do.
Well, I think it was a fantastic run through there. Do you?
I thought it was, yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you know,
That was awesome.
This is how you decode scripture. You've got to look at it and what's it really telling you, people? You know, question it, look into it, read it, but do factor in technology and a construct, because clearly this is what it's all telling you.
Exactly. Now I can't wait for you to put it together.